Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Purdue.
Hey, come on in on this beautiful day of March. Actually, here where I'm at, it's raining, but it's beautiful because it's going to, get the grass kicked and going here a little bit, and the bushes and the trees and whatever critters need to take a drink, have at it today. It's free. Mother Nature provided free for you. Hey, thank you for coming in on Professor of Perseverance podcast. I'm Dr. James Purdue, the Professor of Perseverance himself. Today, our guest here to talk about overcoming her own adversity. When she was 16 years old, 2 days after Thanksgiving, she had a knock at the door. The family was told then that their dad had committed suicide. Wow. Can you imagine having Thanksgiving dinner and then 2 days later? Wow. And so here up to that point, though, she had contemplated suicide herself. But through great family support, friend support, going through some therapy, she has understood, and she wants to deliver a message to all of us. Life is what you make of it. Welcome to the show today, aka Heidi's Lemonade Stand, the podcast host of Heidi Alldredge.
Thank you. I'm so excited to talk to you today. So thank you. It's such an honor to be with you.
Oh, I'll have to send a check in the mail to you for saying being an honor to me. So
that's awesome.
No, thank you for being here. We know how our times are valuable, everybody's time is valuable, and that you're sharing your time, your story, your journey with us to inspire us, to give us some hope, to know that when we get kicked in the teeth, that life is still worth living.
Yes.
So, Heidi,
yes.
I'm just going to sit back and go from here, and it's your platform, and you take off from where you think to get us started and going. And I tell people, throw my 2 cents worth in, but with inflation, it's a nickel. And so, but it's still only valued at 2 cents. So,
true.
You go ahead and get us started here, Heidi. And thank you again for being here.
Thanks, James. I appreciate this. I love any opportunity to share my story. Hopeful that it will just be something that somebody will be able to hear that will be helpful in their life and maybe give them the encouragement to hold on for one more day like I needed to. So I appreciate the introduction. Yes, the police did knock on our door that Saturday after Thanksgiving and tell us that our dad had just taken his life. I remember in his suicide note, he said that he knew that everybody would be better off now that he was gone. And it just hit me because that's exactly what I had been thinking before that moment. I was made fun of really bad for how I looked and bullied terribly. And I had just decided, you know what, this world would be so much better off not having to look at my ugly face anymore. And so I had
Heidi,
decided.
I'm going to stop you there. You stop that right now. Now, I know that was only 4 or 5 years ago, as young as you are. Okay.
Right.
But, you're a beautiful woman, and you got a contagious smile and laughter. And again, we met last week. I was on your show, and I appreciate the opportunity. But yeah, I'm glad that you saw past all this. So yeah, again, with the supporting cast, family, friends, same therapist.
Right.
But so I'm sorry I interrupted your time now. But
No,
you stop that. So all right.
I think we need to tell everybody to stop that. We are our worst critics and we are terrible to ourselves.
Sister. Amen,
and I
sister.
also think the bullies need to stop that. Like, who cares what they think? Like, they need to keep their opinions to themselves. Like, and it was, 6th, 7th, 8th grade where your features are bigger than your face. And it's a rough time for most people during those junior high years, those late elementary years. And that was definitely my worst time. And I look back at pictures of myself and I'm like, okay, I don't blame them for some of their comments they made, but it wasn't necessary. And I've learned since then that we shouldn't take criticism from someone we wouldn't take advice from. That's a big key.
Yes.
It's like, I should have been able to, I wish I would have had the maturity to just tell them to just be quiet and that I needed to be able to like myself enough that it didn't matter what other people thought. But I didn't. And I was in a really bad place. And I was depressed and very hard on myself and really thought I would be helping everyone by not being alive anymore. But once my dad did, then it was like, that isn't the solution to it at all. And I realized that everybody's life has value and that I needed to stop the way I was thinking about my own life and realize that maybe I had something to offer as well. And I took that opportunity as a way to reach out to other people and notice people and stop focusing on myself and be able to notice others and others in high school and reach out to those who seemed hurt or lonely or struggling with whatever they might be going through. And so it was a great opportunity after all. The last couple of years of high school, I really thrived and did really well and was able to really rise above it and be able to have a good experience after all and be grateful that I was alive and grateful for experiences I had, friends that I made. And so it worked out. It was really good. And so it was a good lesson for me. Unfortunately, I had to learn it that way, but it was important to be able to value life again and help others be able to see their value.
See, I'm glad that you were able to hang on there and
Yes.
see the best coming later. I mean, you
Yeah.
had no idea at the time, but
No.
understanding and coming. A friend of mine, Bird Baggett. Bird, what's up, buddy? If you ever jump in, but we're going to quote you again. My friend Bird, and he says, "Don't give up before the blessings."
Oh,
That's
that
what he
is
says.
so true. Yes,
Yeah.
I actually have a saying that, well, and it kind of dates me a little bit, but it's back in the day when you would go to the bank to make a deposit or put money in the bank and you wanted cash back and you'd go to the drive-through and put it in the little tube, and it would just be sucked up into the air somewhere and plop down and you'd have to wait. You just wait. You don't know when the tube is coming back with your money. You just wait, you don't see
If
anybody.
it's coming back,
If it's coming back with your money,
yeah.
exactly. And I just think, would we just drive off? Would we be like, you know what? I'm sick of waiting for my deposit,
Oh, good
my
analogy. Yeah, it's a good
yeah. And so
analogy.
it's like we wouldn't. We would just keep waiting. We don't know when it's coming back. We don't know how it's coming back through this tube through the air somewhere. We just wait. And so I've learned that my theme song is Hold On for One More Day. It's like you just don't know what is coming and you tend to want to pull the plug or give up, and usually it's then that things change and turn around for the better. That's when the deposit comes back and appears in the tube at your car and you can get on with your day. So we just got to keep holding on, just stay the course, and it will all come together. It'll all work out. So I'm glad
Yep.
you mentioned that.
I've had to learn patience is a virtue.
Whew.
Since I got in a wheelchair and everything, that had to learn that because I wasn't a patient person. Not perfectly patient now, but it's better than what it was. So, all right, now let
That's
me
good.
ask a question here. You're talking 2 days after Thanksgiving.
Mm.
Here you are having Thanksgiving with Dad and everything. Did he have issues? Did anybody notice when y'all got the from the place? Did y'all go back
Yeah.
and talk and go? He really wasn't himself Thanksgiving Day, or
What? I'm glad you said that.
was he having issues that made him feel guilty about what's going on?
Right. He did have a lot of issues and he was actually alone on Thanksgiving Day. So I'm
Okay.
glad you brought that up. We went and spent Thanksgiving with some family friends, and my dad had moved out before that because of some choices he had made that were not good.
Hmm.
And so he was actually alone. And that was one thing that's been very difficult for me all these years is when the police went to his house, they found just like a TV dinner, little Thanksgiving turkey dinner
Yeah.
in his trash. And that just kills me to know that he literally was all alone on Thanksgiving and just could have a little TV dinner. And
Yeah.
ever since then, it's always been my goal on Thanksgiving. I'm the house that has Thanksgiving dinner. Everybody come. Nobody can be alone on Thanksgiving because I
And
always wonder if someone would have reached out to him.
yeah.
Anybody, a
Yeah.
coworker, a
Yeah.
neighbor, a friend, a family member, if somebody would have reached out and said, "Hey, come," then we might have seen more signs. We might have realized that he's hurting. But to spend Thanksgiving alone and then, decide pretty much, day after, that Saturday, I think that had a lot to do with it. I really believe that. And so it's been my mission to make sure that I kind of pay more attention to people. I don't want to go through that again. And I think as we
Yeah.
look past ourselves, we might be able to notice if other people are struggling a little bit more. So I'm
Oh
glad you
yeah.
brought that up.
People are hurting out there, and I don't care what it is. I mean, we're not on the same threshold, but some are having more than others for whatever reason. Sometimes it's because of their decision. Sometimes it's out of their control. But people are having more. Some are less for whatever reason. But I don't care who you are. Something's always going on with somebody,
That's why
somewhere in the life, somewhere.
I wish we could carry a sign. I wish we could hold up a sign wherever we go and say, I'm dealing with this right now in my life, or I'm hurting because this just happened, or whatever, because we all have something. And can you imagine a world where we could just see that person right then and go, oh, wow, their husband just left them, or their mom just died, or their child is sick, and how we would treat them if we
Hmm.
could see that right away. Oh, what a great world that would be. So instead, we just have to pretend and just understand each person we encounter is struggling with something. And we just have to be kind and loving and caring.
There you go, and try to leave them in a better position than when you
Mm,
found them.
I
You
love
know,
that.
we hear that you go to a ballpark or something, clean your area up, don't leave the
Yeah.
trash, and then grab somebody else's stuff, leave it better than you
Better
found it.
than you
So
found it. Yep.
same thing here with people. We should, when we go to the store, when we go to the restaurants, when we go just walking and jogging, whatever it is, if we meet someone in, leave them a little better than what we found them. And they
I
may
love
be
that.
having a great peppy day, but again, they may be hiding it.
That's what we usually do, right?
Exactly,
Sometimes
exactly.
people with the biggest smile are also hurting with a lot of pain too. So it's okay to just be kind. Yeah.
There you go. Man, Heidi, I don't uh I don't know where to go from here now.
Well, I can tell
You
you.
you keep well
I
what I want to ask is
Yes.
I would feel, and maybe just me just thinking and being a podcast host or whatnot, and I could probably be totally wrong on this, but I mean, you could actually look at your dad's suicide as a savior for you.
Absolutely.
I mean, because you were contemplating,
Yes, very
and
much.
apparently you were hiding it well from the family. He held it, he hid it from the family, and I mean, even though it was sad for him to go, it gave you that extra life that you didn't want your family to go through it another time anyway.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
No,
So
I'm so glad you said that. That has definitely been something I can look back and be grateful for. Like, I mean, it certainly wasn't something I would go back and say, yes, I want to go through that again, but it definitely taught me what I needed to learn, and it woke me up and it made me more aware of other people. It's made me who I am today. And I miss him every day. I'm now, I've had children. Now my children have had children. I'm like, he'd be a great grandpa right now. And that's the kind of thing that you can't see when you're 39 years old
mhm.
and you feel like your life is ending because of the situation you're in that day. And you can't look ahead another 30 or 40 years and realize that you would have great grandchildren that would want to come and read stories with you or something. And none of us know that. None of us know what the future holds. So we have to hold on for one more day. We're not going to stay in this place. That's the good thing about it, right? Even the good things, the bad things, the hard days, the
Yes,
good days, they
they're
all
all
change.
coming and going.
Yes, they all come and go. And it was compared to like an ocean. You can see the ocean that's just smooth and flat and beautiful, and then the ocean with the big crashing waves. Which is better? We need both. We need both. We need to play in the waves and we need to play in the calm. And I think we look at life like that. Like it will have its calm days, it'll have its stormy, crashing wave days, but the calm will come again. And we just have to hold on. Like that's my biggest message. And that's part of the reason for my podcast of the Lemonade Stand is to be able to share stories of people who have overcome those terrible, tragic, hard things, those challenges in life that seem like you would want to give up. You wouldn't want to keep going with things that you're dealing with, but they do, and they persevere and they rise above it and they make their lemonade out of the lemons they're given. And I love it when they share their stories with me. I'm very blessed to be able to meet incredible people that have overcome way worse stuff than I've ever had to deal with. And it's so inspiring to me. I love it.
Now, I
And I'm
mentioned my,
sniffling and running.
oh, you're doing great. You're beautiful. So you're doing awesome. So, the friend of mine mentioned Bird Baggett. He's a 72 Bird again. If you ever get in there and promoting your legacy, and he just said he's had his dream on his heart. God's put it on his heart for years, and he's finally waking up to do it. He wants to leave this as part of his legacy, and I was able to help out, and I'm an ambassador for his legacy. That he started what's called a Million Heart Mission, and it's providing hope to people. So, what we do is we purchase these little bands that said hope, pass it on,
Mm,
bookmarkers, refrigerator magnets, little wooden coin things that says hope on it. And what I'm doing is giving out two or three to one person, and then let that person share it to two or three other people, so the ripple effect would take effect with it. But Bird Million Heart Mission, good, but one of his little cards he put in there that it states, we can go 4 days, 40 days without food, 4 days without water, 4 seconds without hope. And so when we can't see the the end of the train light at the end of the tunnel and realize there's not a train still coming, when we can't see that because don't have the hope, yeah, that's when people get desperate.
yes. Yep. I can relate to that. Yes.
So,
So hope is
hey, we
what we
got
need.
Endless Time Awakening. Thank you for coming in. And it says, sorry, Heidi, for your loss. Loneliness is a soul crushing weight that millions struggle with. We must share the love of God that's within each of us with all our fellow men. Amen. Endless Time Awakening. Thank you for coming in. And so, all right.
Yeah, that's so true.
All right, so Heidi, you went saw a therapist, had some friend support and family support and
Yes.
everything like that to keep you get you on track again and let
Yes.
people know it's life is what you make of it.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
that's your lemonade stand. People say life deals you lemons. What do you do with it? Make lemonade, hopefully.
Yeah.
What did I tell you with mine? Life gives me lemons. I want a strawberry pie. I don't care. I mean, I could deal with lemons, but I'd prefer strawberry pie. But same thing. And
It's so
so,
true.
but
I have another saying that I give to people, like, I love what your hope wristbands that you were talking about, and I have these little gift bags of all these little lemon scented things, lemon soap and sanitizer and a little, just anything lemon that I can find, and I put it in this little bag, and the note I put on it is, "When life hands you lemons, throw them back really, really hard," because
there
it's
you
just
go.
like, "You know what? I don't want this." So,
That's right. That's
I
right.
try to try to make it light of it. I actually hated that saying when I was a kid because I thought it was really dumb and trivial, and I thought, "You know what? I'm going through a lot of things." We dealt with a lot of stuff in our childhood and a lot of stuff. It was hard, and I remember thinking, "When life hands you lemons, make lemonade." That's so trivial, that's so lame, that makes it sound so easy, and it's so much harder than that. But then once I started this radio talk show back in 1999, I was gonna talk to people who were given challenges, and they've overcome them, and they've made the world better by what they went through, and my mom's like, "That's taking lemons and making lemonade," and I'm like, "No, I hate that saying. I
No.
hate that saying." And then I'm like, "You know what? That is what it is." And I mean, it sounds trivial, but it's so true, and it is just taking something that by itself might not be so great, might be a little sting of sour, but you use those lemons and you can make things really great with them. You can use them to make water even taste better. Lemons are very useful for
Yeah,
cleaning and for
you
all
put it in.
kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
I was
So,
going to say yes,
yeah.
cleaning.
Yeah,
Put
so
it in your water
lemons,
and clean your windows
yes,
and
lemons are very important, and we need the lemons in our life, and it's what we use them for and what we do with them that sweetens our life and makes our life better. And so that has definitely had to just stick with me. That has have to be my theme, is just taking lemons and making lemonade.
so
And
you
yeah,
can't run from it. You got to own it
no,
now.
you got to do it. I know. I just have to. It's my
There you
theme
go.
song
I
now.
told
So
somebody one time I was talking and said, they say when they use a lot of metaphors. So life gives you lemons, or when life deals you a bad hand. I
yeah,
said, but a friend of mine, Kenny, you may have heard or met Kenny at one point, and I think he's in our for relationship with our group thing.
Oh.
But you may have met Kenny or at least heard of him. And Kenny, one time I remember him telling me, you know, you got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to, yeah. So
Yeah, walk
Kenny,
away, know when to
yeah.
run.
So
Yeah.
just like in life, So Kenny, I'm
Yes.
sorry he passed away a couple of years ago,
Yes, he did.
uh, but yeah,
Oh, that's so funny.
so
Yeah, that's true. That's what it is. And I mean, I don't want to make it sound trivial either. Like people deal with a
yeah.
lot of hard things. And I now am a motivational speaker to like give tips and help and advice to whatever people might be dealing with to help them just be able to get to that point a little faster, because we're going to get through it. Like we actually survive 100% of our worst days. We really do. So
Hmm.
we're going to get through it. And it's just like how fast or how much better or positive or easier are we going to get through it? And so I like to try to give advice to help people understand that we all have it and there's little tips to be able to get through it a little faster. So I like
Yeah, I
to work
told
on
you,
that.
my friend Bird said, don't give up for the blessings. So
Yeah.
I use another Southern slang, and it says hanging there like a hair in a biscuit. So
Gosh,
and
that's
so
so gross.
it's gross, but again, it's a Southern thing. So
Yeah.
and so hang in like a
Oh,
hair in a
that's
biscuit.
so
So
funny.
and then, like you said, we're not trying to trivialize any of this,
I
but
know,
we
not at all.
we have come to where we've learned we can laugh about it once we get through it.
Yeah,
Okay, once
yeah.
you're in the middle of it, it's not funny
No,
whatsoever.
no,
You know,
it's very
uh, e-
tragic. Yeah,
every day I get in my wheelchair, I'm not laughing, but
right.
I know I'm going to live the best I can
Yeah.
from it.
And that's what I
So
love from you is you're such a great example of perseverance and you're such a great example of positivity of just getting up and just doing it and having a smile and communicating with other people to share positivity too. And I think that's an amazing example because you could choose another way. You could just lay there all day and be miserable and make everyone around you miserable. You really could do that.
yeah, I told other people. Somebody made a comment that I couldn't do what you're doing. I said, man, we have two choices in life. One, I can lay in bed and have someone feed and water me like I'm a vegetable, and then I watch their TV programs because I can't turn the channel, and so
Right.
watching their TV channels, and so or the second thing is, even though it's harder than laying around, still fight the good fight, do the
Oh,
best I can, have the best life I can. It won't be perfect, but it's better than what it could have been.
yeah.
And so, and
And that's
Heidi,
so great.
you got to quit complimenting. I got to send another check to you.
Oh, no.
Heidi, thank you. I
That's what I
appreciate that
do.
though.
No,
There
no,
you
it's
go. It's
great.
good.
But I think with you, and I think it's a great example of seeing things to be grateful for is kind of what it starts with. And I think that's something I like to teach too, is just you can just lay there and feel sorry for yourself, or you can find things to have gratitude for and get up for. And I think that's really important that we all, and it sounds so trivial too, like, oh, all I do is think of things I'm grateful for. But I've learned that even in a hard situation, you can actually, when you're experiencing something like this happened the other day, and it wasn't a hard situation, but it was so simple that I actually got a big rock hit my front windshield, and it was a new car. It was a big rock. It left a big chunk out of my windshield, and I was so upset, like probably more upset than I should have been, but I was really upset thinking it's going to have to replace my whole windshield and it's going to be $1,000. And I was just like, starting to get myself super worked up about it and mad, and I'm driving in that truck, and who does he think he is, and I'm going to report him, and just all this stuff you start getting worked up about. And then all of a sudden I thought of what one of my podcast guests had said, and she said, when you're in that situation, you have to start saying but at least, and finish the sentence, but at least. And so for the rest of my drive, the next 20 minutes, I sat there, but at least I'm okay. But at least it didn't cause an accident. But at least it didn't shatter my windshield. But at least, and I just sat there for 20 minutes, but at least. And by the time I arrived at my destination, I had kind of like calmed down at least, but almost forgotten about it. I'm just like, it's no big deal anymore. I don't even care. Like I was fine with it. And a friend came out and I just pointed, "Yeah, look what happened to my car." And she's like, "Oh, I have a repair guy just right here down the street and he'll do it for free."
Yeah.
And I'm just like, "Wait, what?" And so I think, what if I would have just let myself get to stewing and angry and worked up? And instead it worked out, and I did. I went right over, got it repaired for free. It took a half an hour, no big deal. But I didn't let it ruin my whole day. I didn't let myself get so heated and festered, upset about it. And I turned it and started thinking about things I was grateful for. And
There
it
you
just
go.
turned that simple situation. Like I said, it's a little trivial thing, but it works in any situation. You can turn, don't ever say, but at least to someone else. You can only say it to yourself.
That's
You
right.
can
Yeah.
never say it to
Don't.
someone else.
Yeah. Don't let them fill in. Let them do their own thing.
Let them do their own. Yes. If somebody
So
comes to you with a tragedy, you don't be like, but at least, don't ever, ever say that. But you can do it to yourself in your own mind and be like, but at least I'm safe. I'm alive. I'm whatever. And whatever you have to do to kind of get out of that spiral of being in that negative, scary situation. So it works. It really does. Try it, but at
uh,
least.
and I'm a big believer that, and it's not, again, we should always try to find the lining, the silver
Yeah.
lining, they say, on the cloudy day and all that. Okay. I understand that, uh, but I'm a big believer that we go through some situations, maybe not everything. Again, sometimes we bring it on ourselves, sometimes it's uncontrollable, but it comes on, and it's to teach us how strong we really are. That for us not to give up. And
Yeah.
then when we see how we got past it, when we look back a year from now, 5 years from now, and see what we've accomplished and got through, despite what we went through, it's an amazing gift when you can look at it that way.
Yes. Yes. So that's the other thing I teach, is to see everything as a gift. And as we look at everything in our life as a gift, because at the time we want to label it as good or bad, like, oh, this really bad thing happened to me. And it's like, you don't know actually if it's really a bad thing that happened to you, because it could be the greatest gift of your life. It could bring you to a place that you don't even know about yet. It could offer things into your life, bring people and opportunities into your life that you don't even know, that'll be some of the greatest blessings. And so instead of labeling things good or bad, we just, oh, this is a gift in my life, and just look at it as a gift. You don't know what it's going to bring and other gifts it's going to bring. And so if we can react to things as a gift and start dissecting it that way, why is this in my life? Why was this brought to my life? What is this here to teach me? What am I going to learn? It's an amazing way to open your eyes to all the possibilities.
It's amazing how we can put two people in the exact same scenario, and you
Oh,
get two different
right.
outcomes.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
for
So true.
example, I mean, we put a $20 bill on the ground and see what people would do with it. And I tell people it's a test. And the only reason I bring this up, a friend of mine one day comes up, James, I found $20. He says, man, the Lord's done blessed me today. And now I know the guy has been on dope, drugs, things. Okay. And so I told him, so, well, yeah, you might be tested by God or you may be tested by the devil. Okay. It depends what you do with that $20. Maybe give $1 to a church or help someone else or feed someone. And not to say you can use some for your own self to get shoes or something to eat. I'm not saying, but if you turn around and do dope with it, then what good have you gotten out of it? And sure enough, he went and did his drugs. And but yeah, but he comes to me, oh, the Lord has gifted me. He hadn't gifted you to go do dope.
Oh
Okay.
no.
And so it's
Yeah.
amazing what we could all be put into the same scenario, and we can come up with 1,000 different ways that
Oh,
the outcome would come.
that is
So
so true. That happened to me once when I was working in a restaurant, and it was like the most powerful experience of like, there's this little display freezer with like pints of ice cream in it. And one of my coworkers had organized all the pints of ice cream. So they were all in rows and facing forward. And then I had like cleaned the glass so there wasn't any handprints or anything on it. And it just looked like super nice. And then the owner of the restaurant came in and he's like, that is the perfect freezer, And I'm like, yeah, it's because I cleaned the glass. And my coworker's like, yeah, because I arranged the pints. And the owner said, no, I was looking at the temperature. It's like the perfect temperature,
there you go.
And look at how all three of us looked at that same freezer and all had different thoughts about it, right? Of why it was so great.
Yeah.
So you just don't know. Like you think it's obvious. Like, yes, it's obvious why it's so great is because it's clean and organized. But no, it's because of the temperature. So that's always my lesson. Every day I think to myself, there are different perspectives and people are in different places. and we all have things to learn. And so we have to just give each other grace and see the differences in our lives and enjoy the blessings and gifts that we've been given.
Well, Heidi, I'm glad that you're giving me a gift today and a end time awakening. Thank you for coming in as well and give me a gift with. See, you're talking over here with us, and appreciate that. And so, Heidi, it's time for us to wrap up because I know you're a
Yeah.
busy woman. You got other podcasts to go do, and I don't want to get you out of control and out of what
Schedule, off schedule.
there we go. And thinking, yeah, it's off schedule.
Thank
So
you.
appreciate you being here. If go ahead and tell all of us your website, how we can get hold of you, get some
Oh,
coaching
yeah.
from you,
Yeah.
get you to come do a motivational speaking for us. So
Yeah.
give
I'd
us
love
the
to
whole
do
way to
that.
find you.
Yeah, I love to do that. It's at Heidi's Lemonade Stand. That's where you find me. So my website's Heidi's Lemonade Stand. And I spell it AID. So it's lemonade instead of the drink. It's a way to get fixed and a way to get some aid in whatever you might be going through. It's something to kind of uplift and inspire each other. So it's Heidi's Lemonade Stand. And then Facebook, Heidi's Lemonade Stand. And then Instagram is Lemonade Stand Official. So that's how you'll find me and reach out to me. Have my email is on my website, and I would love to interview you on my podcast or come and speak at an event. And I have a really fun, inspiring thing I like to do to help people and uplift them and make the world a better place, one person at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one event at a time, whatever we can, just to hold on.
Well,
Thank you.
you've got your money's worth today with the one person at a time with me,
Oh,
and
thank you.
hopefully with end time awakening, maybe you double hit us today.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, and I'll put this stuff in the show note as well. And also, don't forget that Heidi Alldredge, podcast host of Heidi's Lemonade Stand. So don't forget that.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
so
that's
everybody
true.
go in and take a listen for other stories. She's doing a similar to me, probably better than me as well
No.
with all this. And so, you're like I said, your smile and your laughter are just so contagious that I don't see how people can't come out on the better end after being with you. And so I
Thank you.
appreciate that. Yeah, your husband's a
Thank you.
lucky man. And so, well, I don't use the word luck a lot, but a blessed man. And so from there.
I am
Now,
too. Yes.
all right, Heidi, you know that and end time waking said, God bless you, Heidi. And
Oh, thank
so
you.
all right,
Same.
Heidi,
I
we know
feel
there's
it.
there you go. Heidi, we know that people are hurting and struggling today. If we can just finish off with a powerful message to help them
Mm.
get through today, that'd be a blessing.
Oh my goodness. I love that. There's so many things, and it depends on what somebody's dealing with right now. But I think the biggest thing is that they're not alone. That's a just want people to understand, like if my dad would have known that, and if I would have realized that earlier too, we're not alone. We have people that love and care about us, and reach out to someone and ask for just some help or guidance or support, whatever you need. But I see you. You're not alone. You're needed and important, and just hang in there for one more day because life is what you make it, and you can make it sweet. Just hold
Again,
on.
hanging there like a hair in a biscuit. All right, from the southern version, and so
Yes.
from there, and so Heidi, yeah, I appreciate everything, and
Thank you.
I'm glad that you found a better route for yourself,
Me too.
and again, think how much you're helping people here in the future. And they say 100 years from now, this stuff's still going to be on the internet because it's all here to stay.
That's
And just think,
true.
100 years from now, you're going to be helping someone else.
I love that. I know my dad would be proud. That was like 33 years ago, so I've definitely had a lot of years to improve and get better, and I'm in a good place, and I know I appreciate your listeners, that God is on our side, and He is aware of us, and He's there for us too. So thank you. I appreciate this.
All right, thank you. Hey, if you need someone that needs some encouragement, be sure to share this out to them that they'll realize that you know, as Bird again would say, don't give up for the blessing.
Yeah,
That hang in there, and we'll get through the storms. We'll get through the good times, and we'll get through the storms, and we'll realize that life is still pretty good to deal with. So,
it really
and
is.
everyone else, hey, I'm Dr. James Purdue, the Professor of Perseverance. Thank you for coming on the Professor of Perseverance podcast. End Time Awakening, thank you for coming in. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.